What is a very useful money-saving tip everybody should know? Just because you have enough money to pay for something does not mean you can afford it. Boom is here this right fucking here. I'm really bad for this. Don't develop a cocaine addiction and pack a lunch. Not being an alcoholic helps. For real, it murders money. Order non-spoiling food in bulk. I save so much money just by buying like 5 kilograms bags of pasta and 1 kilogram bags of spices in comparison to the small packages I can get in the supermarket. Spices lose their taste after a while. Buying in bulk is generally good, but spices are best bought in the smallest possible quantity. Save before you spend, don't spend before you save. A trick that always works for me is to think about how many hours' wages I am spending on something. As someone who previously had a huge spending problem, this has helped me realize that I've worked hard for my money. And I'd rather be working my ass off for a stress-free life financially than living payday to pay day buying meaningless shit. Track your subscription-based services. It seems like nothing but it's Netflix here, Spotify there, HBO Max, Hulu, and you end up spending a lot of money on stuff that you don't really use that much. To add to this, put a calendar reminder in your phone to cancel those free trial services before the time runs out and they charge you. Develop a budget and track your expenses. It'll help you really pinpoint how you spend and how to best cut back and work to save money. My cousin is a director and is on £75,000 and I earn half her salary. I had to teach her how to budget, and since November last year, she's now paid of over £6,000 in debt and was able to buy a car on very cheap finance and has managed to save money. I can't believe this successful woman went through life never thinking of her budget, but she's completely changed now and thinks before she buys. Plan your meals and make them yourself. And take a drinks flask or a water bottle out instead of buying drinks out. It's surprising how planning meals and making them meal prep or just making them yourself every day isn't the standard. It's cheaper, healthier, makes you feel good physically and about yourself, and it's not hard. Don't put any money into the lottery. The lottery is an idiot tax. A 10-chance lottery ticket is like $9 where I live, and the prize this Thursday is $80 million. It's not taxed. I play the lottery maybe 3 times a year. Sure, I'm probably never going to win, but the week of fantasizing is worth every penny of the $9. Good old Australia. I have my ticket ready. A national lottery with significantly less people that is untaxed is great. 50 million to a single winner on Tuesday. Learn how to cook. Okay, so this is one that has really helped me save. So a few years ago I knew I wanted to start looking to buy a house, did my research and got my budget and all these other boring things I'm sure no one wants to hear about, lol. Once I knew what my price range was, before I had found a place, I was able to calculate how much per week I'd be paying in a mortgage. A financial broker suggested to me that weekly, I direct deposit the money I'd usually be spending on a mortgage, e.g. $500, plus some more for bills etc. Extra $150 a week. The money was going into a high-interest fixed deposit account. This meant when it came time to actually buy the house, I had a huge chunk saved for the deposit. But most importantly, I was able to live without that money, and it wouldn't be a surprise once I actually had to pay the mortgage. If this makes sense, and budget the rest of my life on the remaining dollar for my life expenses. Helpful tip for anyone who is trying to save money for a house, or anything really, if it is feasible to do so. Also, bring food to work instead of going out to eat. Sounds simple and pretty obvious, but it's hard to realize how it all adds up until you actually save the money. Were you not paying rent while saving for your house? If you can't buy it twice without feeling guilty, you shouldn't buy it. This works for smaller expenses. But if you apply this to a car, house, PC, it makes a lot less sense. Define guilty. You'd look at your bank account afterwards and physically cringe. My soda vending machine addiction makes me cringe at $4 per day. Don't buy a house unless you can buy 2. If you can buy 4, you might as well buy a hotel. Buy used. Except underwear. Buy that new. Also condoms, always buy new. Don't buy a coffee every time you go to the station, but bring it along from home. Otherwise 100 days of public transport is at least €200 lost. We have a coffee machine at work. £1.30 a coffee. Not the worst coffee in the world coming out of a machine. But nothing special. I work shifts, so sometimes up at 3:30. And coffee is an absolute must-have at work. One month I went through my bank statement and added up nearly £75 worth of coffee. Now, I have bought a cafetiere, French press, and buy a bag of quality ground coffee for about £3.50. That lasts about a month and tastes better. So I've improved my coffee and saved £72 a month for the sake of the 2 to 3 minutes it takes to make the coffee. If your employer offers a 401k match to it. If I want to buy something at a store, I make sure I walk around with it for a little to make sure I really want to buy it. Also, it helps to think of something and how many hours of work it would take to buy it. If you wouldn't work 2 hours for it, but it's equal to 2 hours of your pay, don't buy it. People often say, pay yourself first, but do it in cash. If it's sitting in a bank account, you can move it around and spend it with the click of a button. Pull out the amount you want to save and store your savings somewhere. In an envelope, in a safe, in a coffee pot, when it's out of your account and out of your wallet purse. You can't access it on impulse. And when you see 2 or 3 months worth of savings physically together, it becomes more tangible how much money you can save, and you'll be more likely to not grab the bundle and make it disappear on some purchase you don't really need. Physically watching your money vanish is harder than magically swiping cards and watching numbers on screens change. I don't like having paper money. Ever. This is a good advice, though I would do it differently. Have a second account and keep your savings on that second account, maybe even an account that locks your money for a certain time and provides interest. You won't have access to it and you'll be making money in the process. This is what I do. I have 2 accounts, one of which I upgraded to a high-yield savings account. Set and forget. And then got rid of everything that reminds me of it. The other is my regular use easy access account. I auto-transfer a certain amount to the forget account every month. Once in a while I remember to take a look at my savings. But it's less than quarterly and I'm always impressed with how well it's growing. I can't touch it. The funds are just doing their thing and growing on their own without much input from me. It's great how helpful forgetting about an account has been for me. I second this. When I was younger, I did a similar thing. I'd only make purchases if I had enough money in my wallet. This really only worked for smaller things like buying lunch or a game. But if I didn't have the money on hand, then I just didn't go through with the purchase. Don't smoke. This one I've read somewhere. When you really want to order something, put it in your cart and wait for 2 days. Maybe if you don't really need it, the impulse would have been diminished by that time. I've saved a lot of money by just not ordering on an impulse. I would honestly wait a week, maybe even 2, since I have a pretty big issue with buying dumb shit like Legos on impulse. Don't have a driver, just drive yourself. My grandpa saved dozens of dollars trading his chauffeured Bentley, and for a Bentley he drives himself. Good advice. Limousine chauffeurs ain't cheap. Stop wanting stuff, get only what you need. Stop wanting stuff. So simple to say, but in practice so difficult. At least for people not suffering depression. I was like, no, it's fairly easy. Then your last sentence hit me like a truck. I don't believe this to be true at all. You need to gain self-control, not lose your want. Want gives you a drive and drive gets you to where you're going. Never lose the want. That's the biggest mistake you can make. Every time I crave some kind of junk food from a restaurant, I just learn how to make it myself. Also pirating everything. As a musician and filmmaker, I would just like to say fuck you. The last part is so true, like pirating saves you so much money, and a lot of the times it's better than if you paid for it. That's really shitty for the creative artists trying to make a living by creating the work you're stealing. FYI, don't drink beverages that cost money. This guy out there boiling creek water. Rain sure is tasty today. One takeaway coffee a day adds up. If it's $4 times 7 equals $28 a week times 4 weeks equals $112 a month. That's like a sixth of my rent for a coffee a day. Better yet, for every $3.33 you spend a day, that is another $100 you have spent come end of the month. Meal plan based on what you already have in your pantry, freezer, refrigerator. And consider what grocery items can be used in multiple meals across the week to reduce waste. I.e., carrots can go in the stir-fry on Monday, and the soup on Tuesday. If I buy the family pack of chicken, I can make meals for Monday to Wednesday and still have leftovers to make into chicken taco meat in freeze for later. Restrict or don't drink. Become a homeowner as early as you can and only buy what you can afford. It's painful to begin with, but set up your mortgage to pay bi-weekly. This will take 6 years off a 25-year mortgage. Don't get duped by the crap you see on the TV. You don't need that shiny new thing. Look after your car. You won't have to buy a new one every few years. Share your life with someone you really love and can have an honest relationship with. Delete DoorDash. Learn how to cook and shop properly so you are eating out 5 nights a week. Dining out should be a treat, not a habit. Credit cards are for emergencies and one-off deals, not for everyday use. Find a hobby that does not cost a fortune. If you need to borrow money to go on vacation, you are spending too much. In the end, stop trying to impress people by buying stuff. It's just stuff, and do you really need it? Greater than credit cards are for emergencies and one-off deals, not for everyday use. I disagree with this one. Credit cards are to be used as if they were debit card, with the line of credit being available for emergency use. Also, this acts as an extra barrier to fraud. If someone stole my CC number and made a big purchase, I have time to argue the charge. If someone steals my debit card number and makes a big purchase, well, hope I didn't need that cash anytime soon. Credit card does not mean you must carry a balance on me. Just pay it off every month and never pay a penny of interest. But gain reward points. You're gonna have to pay the same price regardless of CC or debit. So might as well get that at least 1% back on everything. Now if there's an actual price difference between CC and cash, pay cash. I've just never seen debit card be discounted. Only solid cash. I agree with you there. Though if you do not have a lot of self-control, like me at times, it is better to remove the temptation. I think maybe it's more about habit and living within your means. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.